discipleship, number 3. Discipleship is the process of multiplying oneself through teaching, mentoring, and coaching. Discipleship is the process of multiplying oneself through preaching, teaching, and coaching. That is why the greatest desire of the Master is that we make disciples. That we make disciples. And discipleship is the process of multiplying yourself. That means you are already a disciple, then you are now making others. And until we become disciples, we cannot make disciples. So discipleship is the process of multiplying oneself through teaching, mentoring, and coaching others. Number 4, what is discipleship? I will stop on that so that to be sure that we are understanding this morning lecture. Are we together? Remember that salvation is the entry process of the kingdom, but discipleship is God's goal for every believer. Are you hearing me? When you become born again, you are a child. Discipleship is when God moves you and matures you for you. God's desire is for you and I to become disciples. And when we become disciples, we can now make disciples. I will stay here. So what is discipleship number 4? It is the act of patiently learning and living the life of the Master. Discipleship is the act of patiently learning and living the life of the Master. Until that happens, that's why discipleship is the process of making disciples. And let's look at who is a disciple. Having seen discipleship, which is a process. And now let's check who is a disciple so that you can be able to discover whether you are a disciple or not. Am I a disciple? Because until you are a disciple, there are many kingdom benefits you can never access. Hello. Hello. Who is a disciple? Number 1. A disciple is someone who is willing and ready to adapt and follow the lifestyle of the Master. A disciple is someone who is willing and ready to adapt and follow the lifestyle of his Master. And this to say, when you give your life to Christ, you are written the entrance exam into the kingdom school of the Spirit. Salvation gives you the admission process. Now your willingness and readiness to learn and adopt and follow the lifestyle of the Master makes you a disciple. Some people, when they hear the Bible said, someone came to Jesus and said, "Good Master, what do I do to inherit the kingdom?" Jesus said, read out the law to him, the 10 Commandments. And he said, "Oh, that I have kept all my life from my youth." The Bible said Jesus loved him and said, "It's one more thing." And he told him, "You need to forget the pursuit of wealth, sell up them all, and come and follow me." The Bible said the man became unhappy. He left. Everyone can come to church, but only few can become disciples. Are you hearing me? So a disciple is someone who is willing and ready to adapt and follow the lifestyle of his Master. Number 2, who is a disciple? A disciple is someone who has encountered his Master and submits to his authority. A disciple is someone who have encountered the Master and submits to his authority. And then the question this morning, am I a disciple? Are you a disciple? Because until you become a disciple, there are certain kingdom authority you cannot buy. There are like dimensions of kingdom dominion you cannot operate in. But the purpose and the desire of God is that you and I will become disciples. Not just disciples, true disciples. You heard what he said? He said, if you continue in my words, then are you my disciple. That is, you can hear his word. You can do his word once in a while. There is a dimension, a level of the word that the Father can say you are now his disciple. And so that's why we are considering who a disciple is. So that we will not just assume. You know, assumption is one of the most dangerous things anybody can embark on. It's a journey of no return. So that you don't assume that you are on the track only to discover you have ended somewhere else. But you need to confirm that that you, that we are a disciple. Number 3, who is a disciple? A disciple is a person who has counted the costs and is willing to carry his cross and follow the master daily. A disciple is a person who has counted the costs and is willing to carry his cross and follow the master when? Daily. It's not once in a while. You follow the master daily. Discipleship is costly, but the end product is priceless. So a disciple is someone who has counted the cost and is ready and willing to carry his cross and to follow the master daily. When you become a disciple, you become a carrier of the cross of Christ. The cross we are talking about is not by looking for one stick of cross and wear on your neck. No. It means your own self is now lost to the principles of the cross. You carry your cross daily and follow the master. You have counted the costs. You are willing to make all the losses. You know, Christianity is easy, but it's not cheap. It's free, but it's not easy. Except Jesus assists you. Because it's contrary to the systems of the world. If you have to live like Jesus, you are going to lose some things based on the world standard. So a disciple is a person who have counted the cost, whether male or female, old or new, whether old or female, male or female, big or small, young or old, who has counted the cost and is still willing to carry his cross and follow the master daily. Number 4, who is a disciple? A disciple is someone who has lost his identity to that of his master. A disciple is someone who has lost his identity to that of the master. That is, a disciple is someone who has lost his identity to that of his master. That when people look at you, they see the master, they don't see you anymore. That was what happened in Corinth. When the people looked at the followers of Jesus, they suddenly screamed and said, these are little Christ. That is, these people are just like Christ in their attitude, in their behavior, in their relationship, everything. So they call them little Christ as a mockery. That's how Christianity, the word Christianity came out. Little Christ. People that live exactly, behave, think, act exactly like Christ. That is why a disciple is someone who have lost his identity to that of his master. So a disciple of Christ is a person who have lost his own identity to that of Jesus Christ. So when you look at the person, you can see Christ. The person becomes an emblem of Christ, an image of Christ, a reflection of Christ, an epitome of Christ. That is a disciple. Until that happens, the person is not a disciple of Christ. So a disciple is someone who has lost his own identity to that of Christ. Number 5, who is a disciple? I will stop with this so that we'll look at categories and a few other things and pray. Who is a disciple? Number 5. A disciple is a person whose only desire is to do the will of his master and to please him. A disciple of Christ is a person whose only desire is to do the will of the master and to please him. That is, if you say you are a disciple of Christ, it means that your only desire in life is to do the will of God. Is to find out the will of the master part time and to do it and please him. You are not pleasing yourself. You don't think of pleasing yourself. You don't think of pleasing others. Your primary desire is to do what? To please him. That is who is a disciple. So that is to say, even if I shout that I'm a disciple, if this definition does not describe my life, does not describe your life, it means you are not yet a disciple. What is your only desire? Is it to please the master? Is it to do his will? In those days when men have encountered the Lord, when people have found what it takes to be a disciple, the first thing in their life, in any decision they want to take, is to find out the will of God. But in this generation, the first thing is to look at how it will profit us. You hear things like, if it makes me happy, then I am okay. It's not true. You are not created to make yourself happy. You are actually created to make God happy. Hello? Hello? Are we still here? So a disciple is someone whose only desire is to do what? To do the will of the master and to please him. If your life is not about doing the will of God in business, in your studies, in your career, in parenting, in your pursuit in life, whatever you do, it is not to do his will and to please him, you are not yet a disciple. And that is why a true disciple, his allegiance is first to his master than any other person. That is why military is one of the practical examples we can use to look at our work with God. And the Bible talks about being a good soldier of Christ. A military person's first allegiance is to his boss than to any other person. I was made that if a military person is asked to fire and his family is there, under that last command in war, he will fire. And you hear the word like obey the last command. And so for a child of God who has become a disciple, who is in the school of discipleship, being mentored by the Lord himself, you become a disciple, you are rated as a disciple if your only desire, mark the word if, your only desire is to do his will, not your will, not our will, not popular opinions will, not the people's will, but to do the will of the master, the will of Jesus. Then God will rate and say, you see what he said, then are ye my disciple. So you don't just claim discipleship. There are certain things. John 8:31 tells us, if Jesus said to them, to the Jews who believed in him, say, if you continue in my word, the word continue, if you live based on the concept and principles of my word, then are ye my disciples. So, what about the things you are doing? No, you are not yet. There are criteria. Hello? You know, this morning we are talking about making disciples. That's what Jesus said. He said we should go and make disciples of how many? All nations, everywhere. But we discover that for you to make disciples, you must be a disciple. So that's why we're looking at who is a disciple. Because if I'm not a disciple, I won't be able to make disciples. Because you cannot give what you don't have. Hello? And that is why if you are a dead person pastoring a church, you'll be a dead pastor pastoring a dead church. So a dead pastor will preach dead messages to dead congregation. He will produce dead congregation. So as a child of God in this Sun and Fire conference, you must discover Jesus' verdict is that we go and make disciples. But for you and I to be able to make disciples, we must be disciples first. Are we still together? You must be a disciple before you can make disciples. Who is the disciple number 6? Should we take that again? A disciple is a person who is willing to live and die for his master. A disciple is a person who lives and dies for who? His master. That is to say, if you are not willing to die for Jesus, you are not a disciple. Hello? Hello? Do you know that our patriarchs, the old believers who gave us the world we are living in today, they were disciples. They grew to become disciples. Because in this generation, in this end time, it will be very easy to be a man of God, but very difficult to be a disciple of Christ. It will be easy to be an apostle, a bishop, an evangelist, to claim anything to be a man of God, but very difficult to be a disciple of Christ. But the issue is you're supposed to be a disciple before you can become a man of God. And unfortunately today, people are jumping class. You want to be a man of God without being a disciple. Until you are a disciple of Christ. And one of the things that proves that you are a disciple is that a disciple is a person who is willing to live and die for his master. That is why you read the early church. You see that many of them, they were living martyrs. They were willing, as they are going out, they would not deny Christ for anything, not for freedom, not for money, not for leisure, not for acceptance. They stood for the word and died for Jesus. A disciple is a person who lives and dies for his masters. Well, I want to show you 5 categories of followers of Jesus, and then we'll be able to find out where, at what point can someone become a disciple. Hello. 5 categories of Jesus followers. Number 1, we saw the multitude. Hello. What did we see? The multitude. The Bible tells us that multitude followed Jesus. Multitude followed him. But in this multitude, are they all disciples? No. John chapter 6 and verse 1 and 2. After these things, Jesus went over the Sea of Galilee, which is the Sea of Tiberias. And a great multitude followed him, because they saw his miracles which he did on them that were diseased. So Jesus had what? Multitude. He had a multitude, they are followers. This multitude are followers of Jesus. They came to him, they listened to him, they moved with him from place to place to hear his word, to experience the act. They prayed, they saw miracles, they were part of the miracles. But who are they? Multitude. Who are they? All of us pass our journey with God as multitude, in the classification of the multitude. Multitude were part of the followers of Christ. They followed him from place to place. They saw the bread and fish multiply, and they ate of it. They saw healings and miracles, and they partook of it. They heard the words of Jesus. They walked with Jesus. Some of them touched him. Some of them he laid their hands on them. They were in multitude. But among the multitude, there were another followers of Christ. The Bible called them the 70s. Are we together? The 70s. In Luke chapter 10, verse 17, we saw the 70s. The 70s were part of the multitude, but they were dissatisfied with that level of fellowship with Jesus. So they move ahead. They went extra mile from the multitude. I will say that. Luke chapter 10, I read verse 17. And the 70 because they came with joy, saying, Lord, even the devils are subject unto us through thy name. And he said unto them, and the next session was lightning fall from heaven. Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means harm thee. Verse 20. Nevertheless, in this rejoice not that the spirits are subject unto you, but rather rejoice because your names are written in heaven. Praise the Lord. So the 70s were born again. Hello. Jesus was telling them, do not be ready. Anybody can cast himself and see these miracles. The multitude saw it, but when we told that the multitude and then they were within the book of life. But the Bible said to the 70, Jesus said, rejoice. I now give you power, which you didn't give to the multitude. He says, I give you power over the powers of the enemy, to cast out them, to train the persistent and stubborn, but don't rejoice from that. And they need to sleep and saw the process of power. But rather rejoice why? And your names are written in heaven. And I want us to go to wherever you are joining us from, whether online or side, is your name written in heaven? Okay, the question was answered. Our names in heaven. They decided to have their name in heaven. And Jesus told them the focus. Oh, you are saying all of this thing, but you should focus on your name should be written in heaven. They were followers of Christ. The multitude. 27. Bible said they before they even had when they were among the Jesus workforce. These are people who sent out to the nations and the cities and villages who are going to go to preach later. They went and preached ahead of him. They returned again, meaning they had returned before. So they were part of Jesus' workforce. But yes, then we have another category of followers of Christ, the third category, which are his disciples. Hello. Matthew chapter 17, verse 1. Matthew chapter 17. Are we together? Matthew 17 from verse 1. Now, Jesus had, Matthew 10, I think it's verse 6. Yes, Matthew 10, verse 1, sorry. Matthew 10, verse 1. It's Matthew 10, verse 1. And when he had brought unto him his 12 words, he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out, and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease. Now, on the 70th, he gave them power. Did he call them disciples? No. When there were people, the 12, he called this 12 who? Disciples. Why? These people have got level of journey with God. They have passed the test of followership and they migrated into discipleship. And that is what should become the desire of every believer, for every minister, pursue the Lord to do his what? Disciple. Now, how do we know? Do you know that even when Jesus talked about the 70s on the multitude, he talked about the disciples. The multitude came, but he went and sat with who? The disciples. You know, brothers and sisters, you know the time came in Jesus' ministry that persecution was so hard. The persecution grew mightily. The multitude disappeared, they ran away. The 70s disappeared. And who was the remaining? The 12 who are like disciples. And Jesus looked at them and said, which also go? They said, who? We didn't come for bread and fish. We didn't come for miracle and prophecy. We didn't come for healing and deliverance. We came for the word of life. He said, you are the one who have the word of life. I want to share with you. Did you see the difference between the multitude and the disciples? Hello? Are we still together? You know the difference is that the multitude came for the prophecies, came for the miracles, the healing, the signs, the wonder. For the disciples came for the word of life. Whether there is food or no food, the disciples will remain. Whether prayers or answers or not, the disciples will remain at the feet of Jesus. Or the multitude will disappear. This will disappear. And I ask you a question this morning. Are you among the 70s? Are you among the multitude? Or have you decided to become a disciple? Because the disciples, their focus is God's word. The will of the master, not on themselves. And so, among the disciples, there were other followers too. There were other followers. They have the four categories of followers. The four categories of the followers of Jesus were the three. Bible called them the three. Hello. Matthew 17, verse 1. The three. You can see that Jesus. Matthew 17, verse 1. And after 6 days, Jesus taken Peter, James, and John his brother, and bringing them up into an high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. Praise the Lord. Now, among the disciples, there were others who continued to grow to become higher disciples, to pursue God beyond the periphery of life. They were ready to know more about God. And the Bible called them who? The three. Peter, James, and John. If you tell Thomas that there was transfiguration experience, simply there's nothing like transfiguration because he never experienced it. Or Peter, James, and John. On that mountain with Jesus, the Bible says he was transfigured before them. Other disciples will come about it. And that is why this mission and fire conference this morning, God is inspiring us to pursue Him. There is a dimension, there is a step of God that is calling you where you can meet with Jesus more. Because secret things are discussed in secret places. There are certain things that are pursued in secret places. There are some coded mysteries revealed to unfold to you as a person. About the kingdom, about your life, about your career, about your assignment on the earth. But if you stay far away in the upper court, there are certain things you will never see. You know, the Bible said that Jesus spoke to the multitude and all the people in parable, but the disciples will come to him privately and he will explain it to them. So the disciples are one who goes less familiar with the master, who is willing to know beyond the bread and fish. He wants to know the Lord himself. The Holy Spirit. But among the three, but have the last followers of Jesus. How many were there? 5 categories. Number 1, who? The multitude following him. Apart from followers of Christ, we have the multitude, we have the 70, we have the 12, we have the 3, and then we have the 1. Last time we have the 1 disciple. John 19, verse 26. John 19, verse 26. Let me read something to you. The Bible tells us something about the disciple. And when Jesus therefore saw his mother and the disciples standing by, whom he loved, he said unto his mother, Woman, behold thy son. Then said he to the disciple, Behold thy mother. And from that hour, that disciple took her unto his own home. Now, you know that when Jesus was arrested, Peter who was among the three, what did he do? He denied Jesus. James, what happened? He fled away. But there was now one disciple, John. He followed even to the crucifixion. He remained. On the cross, Jesus took out the wine and said, Behold thy mother. And look at the benefits is come. So there are dimensions of justification. And God expects us to be his disciples. The question this morning is, are you his disciple? Can you become a disciple of Christ? Because until you are a genuine disciple, you cannot make disciples. The truth is that he has sent us to make disciples of all nations. In those days, one believer who is a disciple of Christ lives in a compound. He will bring out the glory of God into that neighborhood. But today, what is happening? Because though we are many, but we have that glory of discipleship. We have not met the master. We have not been transformed. Something has not taken place in our heart that show that the mark of the Lord has been engrossed in our heart. We follow Jesus, husband or no husband, child or no child, children or no children, money or no money, married or no married. We say Jesus now, Jesus forever. Where are those days? This is the people that Jesus is looking for. Those who will be sold out to Christ. Those who say, others may, but I won't. Others may deny him. Others may go to the apartment. Others may copy the dressing of the world. They will copy the lifestyle of the world. But I will remember Jesus. Then they have become his disciple. Are we still together? And this will become his disciple. So how to become his disciple? We're not spend time to look at elements of the disciples. Elements of the disciples because what the rain has actually obstructed the program. So we'll just finish short and leave so that I'm prepared for the evening crusade. So how do I become a disciple? We're not looking at elements or action or proof of discipleship. How to become a disciple? Number 1, you must encounter the master. So to become a disciple, you must encounter the master. You must be born again. Until you have encountered the master, you cannot be the disciples. You cannot be the disciple. So you must encounter the master. Number two, if you have encountered the master and vaccinated, you must go on. Because there are many who have once encountered the master. But because of the challenges of life, at the point in life, they threw all their convictions. They began to live a life of compromise. They began to live high from the wall. There are people today, their marriage is social media, they're teaching them how to run their health. They do not stand about Bible anymore. But the true disciple, that person who live and die for the principles and the concepts of the scriptures. So in case, whatever you are listening from, in case you were once a disciple or you were once born again, you are vaccinated. You must return in order to be a disciple. You must return to the master. Or you must submit to the teachings and direction of the Holy Spirit. You must not come under the tutelage of the Holy Spirit. You must submit to the teachings of the Holy Spirit and the direction of the disciple. That is why, even for example, in marriage, you want to get married. Two persons as a young lady, 224 persons come to you to ask your hand in marriage. You don't look at who is the down there, who is more educated, who is more popular from your hometown. You ask the Holy Spirit who He has chosen. His will is what matters. It's not that I happen to examine Spirit. But you are living under the authority of the Holy Spirit. You become your master. You want to get into a profession, you want to go to school, you ask him which course you want to study in the university. Which school you want to go to? You want to go to a building, you ask him what to do, you ask him where he wants to leave. You don't just go to everybody doing there and things are happening. Remember, you know, you have come under the governance of his kingdom. So you don't own yourself anymore. You seek clearance from the headquarters of heaven. And so you believe, you submit to the teachings and directions of the Holy Spirit. Finally, number 4, you become willing to obey Him in all things and at all times. Hello. You become willing to obey Him in all things and at all times. How willing are you to obey the Master? And that is when you have become disciples, then we can go to the command. What is the command? To make disciples of all nations. That is, whenever you find yourself as a student, God is sent to make disciples from your classmates. Impact them with the gospel of Jesus through your lifestyle and through preaching and teaching. Oh, you live in a compound. God is sent to make disciples in your neighborhood, among your neighbors. Oh, you are a trader. God expects you to make disciples from all your business. To your business become a template to win souls and disciple them for Christ. You work in an office, your colleagues in the office, God expects you to make disciples. Make disciples of how many? Of all nations. The political nation. The sports or music and entertainment nation. Wherever you find yourself, any city, any village, any location you find yourself, what are you supposed to do? Make disciples. How do you make disciples? Discipleship begins with what? Salvation, soul winning. Hello. Discipleship begins with what? Soul winning. You can't disciple a sinner, you only disciple a saint. And that is why our mandate in our foundation is turning every sinner. In fact, the foundation, our mandate is turning every sinner into a saint, and every saint into a soul winner. Whenever you find a sinner, the gospel of Christ is available. You share with them. You don't preach to condemn them. You preach to convince them to come over to Christ because they lost them. So you preach the gospel of Jesus. When you have won that soul, did you stop there? No. You proceed to what? discipleship. To begin to disciple the person. So I want to show us quick, steps to win souls. Number one, identify the soul you want to win. It can be your colleague, it can be a brother, a cousin, it can be a customer, a client. Identify the soul you want to win. And the second step, which is most important, you begin to intercede for that person. You intercede for that person. I call it first of all intercession. In this Sunday, this book we share to everyone is called the Soul Winner's Handbook. Everyone will have a copy. Everyone. The Soul Winner's Handbook. It teaches you how to win souls. What to expect, what to do to bring people into the kingdom of God. Because that is the essence of all. The church during the justice of God of God, the real thing is you bring people into the kingdom of God. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. The verse is being identified by the person. This is what you do. Intercession is interceding for the person. Do you know that intercession is so powerful? But if you intercede enough, it will be easy to win that soul. But if you refuse to intercede, that is why our priest is not obeying, it's not believing, it's not repenting. Have you been? You are talking to the person about God, why you have not told God about the person? It's like giving him poison. The Bible says this, carnal man cannot understand the things of the spirit. It is in the name of the spirit of intercession. His happy, rocky heart has now been broken to a soft ground. I want to come to plant the seed of the gospel into their midst. So you start with what? You start with what? Intercession. Intercession. Pick that person, put him on your prayer list. Oh Lord, give him this one soul, this 1 month. If you take the decision 1 month, 1 soul per 1 month, how many souls do you think you have won at the end of the year? 12 souls. So every month, you're telling God, I'm not wasting any months until you give me. If you give me 1 more month to do, I give you 1 more soul. If you give me 1 more year to live, I give you 1 more soul. That is unjust personal. I'm talking about the primary part of soul winning, not the crusader, because that one is mass, you can win many, hundreds of thousands can repent on that night. We're talking about you as a person, going out to win 1 soul per person. You will intercede for that person. Intercession goes the whole way. And I've seen the Lord now. I remember a man who interceded for his friend who refused to repent. On repentance. Some years ago, we went to a place to preach. We went for a mission. We went for a crusade and mission work. In Anambra State. Anambra State is in East Nigeria, a place called Okija. About the door of battery to me. And all that brethren. I remember, I'm not going away. One of the things that came to me and said, and they gave money, said, the woman gave us money to support the work that she was excited about what was happening. So I came out to see her so I can appreciate her. So because part of the things we do is that we go to the villages in the morning as we are doing morning cries and people are sleeping their husband, we join them to sleep, people are washing clothes, we join them. What's that they are doing? As we are working with them, we are sharing the gospel of Jesus with them. Because souls are perishing by the way. And then everyone who dies in Christ goes to hell. That means the sacrifice of Jesus in that life will become wasted eventually. And so we go out to reach out. So when I came out to appreciate the woman, and I thanked her every morning, and I told her how grateful we are, and invited her for the evening crusade, evening rally. She says that's about emotion. I said, why, man? She says she's the princess of our substitution. That's an abomination to the matter of the church. But she went into the river. She went to the river and disappeared. 7 days later, she emerged, came up physically back, and became the custodian of the river, the goddess. It took care to bring sacrifices to her. It's an abomination to ask her to come to church. So we went over and said, I want to do that. So I went to her. And I went to my team, and I shook off the bread. We declared 1 year chain prayer for her. Every day someone is fasting. 1 year. And when they complete the 1 year, they were turned back to that place. It's all about an application for another mission crusade. And when we came for that crusade, a miracle happened. In that crusade, that morning, I said an abomination. He came for the crusade, back as the crusade ground, and gave our life to Christ. The power of intercession. Many people are dying and going out to hell because we do not have the compassion to intercede for them. It takes compassion of Jesus and you. In those days, you see people fasting for 7 days, no water, no food. They are not asking what to anointing. They are not praying for motor, for a car, for breakthrough, for house. They were praying for one soul. They are seeing their neighborhood that is living a wayward life, that is a drug, that is a cultist, that is a kidnapper, that is an armed robber, that is a terrorist, and they take care of God and say, Lord, kill me or give me this soul. They understood the value of the soul. In the place of intercession. Hello. First of all, what do we do in intercession? Because if you begin to talk to people about God, when you have not spoken to God about them, you will miss it. So we start by interceding for those people. Look around every person you are trying to preach to or back to church that have not come, that have not submitted to prayer. Put their name down on today your prayer list. Let the desire of God, what is the desire of God? That also to come up with a prayer. No, because it's not the will of God that any soul should perish. If that is the will of God, that should be the goal we live like a disciple. Hello? I've been interceding for kidnappers and terrorists and underground and God should say because when I look at them, I can see many apostle Pauls among those terrorists. When we encounter Jesus, they will accept the land and take the gospel to places that we cannot get to. To ask you to raise them. If they can be that serious for the devil, there will be much more serious for God. So we must begin to intercede for them. We must begin to pray for our brothers on the other side. And the light of God's word will come and bring them salvation. But we need to pray for the things and the mummies and transgenders and all that God should show them His mercy and bring them to salvation. First of all, what? Intercession. Intercession. Hello. After intercession, what's the next step? You will come to the gospel of the gospel of Jesus. You preach the gospel. And preaching the gospel, I just want to give you 4 things you need to do quickly. Number 1, in preaching the gospel, make your message simple. What do I say? What do I say? Make your gospel, your message simple. Not complex. It's not a time to begin to do Bible strategies. No, it's a time to make your message very simple. Number 2, make your gospel short. Your message what? Short. When you go out for soul winning and evangelism and you are preaching one sermon, people will not have that patience to wait for a lot of work. Make it short. And then number 3, avoid preaching religion or evangelism, preach Christ. Do you know what I said? When we go out to win souls, don't preach religion, don't preach evangelism, preach what? Christ. That's key to salvation. Hello. And number 4, don't end so winning exercise without giving the person an opportunity to take decision for Christ. When you have made simple and short message, you avoid religion or denomination. At the end of your message, tell the person you want to make Jesus Lord of your life. Don't assume and walk with you as a thank you for listening. No, ask the person. I think you need to surrender to Jesus. If you will lead him to Christ, lead her to Christ, you know what? You may just finish that person's heart opened by the Lord and you finish the message. If you take opportunity to do Jesus, walk away and the person's heart is still waiting for that. You need to open up to Jesus. Because every person is a potential house for Jesus. And we're looking for more houses to live. And when you want to submit to Jesus, will come in house. Hello? Now when you are coming with evangelism, that's short first, there are more, but in course of this program, just want to give you that short one. When that has been done, and the person is now born again, what do? You move to the level to go to what? discipleship. You go to discipleship. You don't need the person to forget. There are many ways you can disciple a person. And in this end time world, in the world of technology, it's very easy now to even disciple people without being. Are you getting what I'm saying? You can be here and disciple somebody in 2 times or 60 or even less of hours. So one of the things is that you take the person a visit. If the person is smart, you make phone calls, send text messages, send social media messages, connect the person online to pray with the person. Invite the person to church, find out how he's growing. Let the person understand Bible study, the place from studying and Bible knowing the scripture for themselves. Not what my bishop said, the word that the Bible says. The person should know you disciple the person. And the disciple the person can be disciple through teaching, through preaching, and through coaching. You mentor the person in God's word. And when we do that, we are able to raise disciples. And more disciples, more glorious encounter with the Lord. My prayer is that today, in this conference, you will take a decision to be a disciple. Children, you can disciple children like you. Adults, you can reach out to your colleagues, people of like mind. You share with them what Jesus has done for you. Somebody says, well, no, I cannot preach. I don't know the Bible so much. You don't need to do too much Bible to do. Tell the person what Jesus did to you and is willing to do for God. Share your personal testimony. And you have the Holy Spirit asking you to do to others. I was not blind. Now I can see. He's willing to do this tonight. It is not on a good day. I once said to someone, that was all I said. Since many years ago. She visited, Papa, you are having the leaders' duty. So she visited one of our ESCO members. She led one of our ESCO members to the duty. And then she now came, her friend, who was a woman, now came and said, that's my friend, sister, I just want to go back. And I said, wait, sir. And I looked at her and said, Jesus lost you. And that's what she left. The sister said, when she returned back the next one after the meeting, she met her weeping. So what happened? So she didn't want to put her sister today, your leader. That's your president. Said, Jesus lost you, that something happened to her, she couldn't get her. She's been weeping. And that's how she gave her life to God. Jesus was from my house on, I didn't want to hear, I walked away. And just after all, the Holy Ghost took it, walk on that hand and save them. So you don't need to know anything, just take a decision that, Lord, I am willing, use me to make disciples. And I can use the word. They can use anything through your life to bring disciples to the kingdom. My prayer is that this day, you will not just be a disciple, but you will make disciples in the name of Jesus. Let us pray. He prays to Son Jesus, I speak from my heart. He always be with us if we do our part. There's nothing this wide world can pleasure our fall. The joy in salvation is our window. I love him more ever than in days of yore. I'll serve him more truly than ever before. I'll do as it pleases me, whatever that costs. I'll bring a true so glad I'll die at my post. Come to lift up our voice and thank the Lord as we consecrate our heart to Him again this afternoon. Just say, the Lord, thank you for speaking to me, Lord. I have decided to be a disciple. And I'm taking a decision to begin to make disciples of all nations, disciples of all cities. It's not enough. God will reward us for making disciples, but we need souls. Lord, help me to be disciple of all nations. Go ahead and talk to the Lord. Go ahead and talk to Jesus. It's good to serve 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 Jesus. I speak from my heart. I was serving. It's so winning. I was serving. In the evangelism, I was serving. As a missionary, I was serving. As as an intercessor. You can serve it as a prayer warrior. We need to take a decision today to say, Lord, as a servant, disciples are servants. Disciples are people who are not just coming to worship for me, for food, for bread, for miracle, for healing, for breakthrough. They are out for the Lord. They are sought out to serve the Lord. When they are alive, both alive and dead. It pays to serve Jesus, my brothers and my sisters. You will truly pay to serve Jesus. Will you serve him with your life? Will you serve him with your talent? Will you serve him with your position? Will you serve him with your wealth? Will you serve him with all that he has given to you? Serve him because he pays to serve Jesus. He pays to serve Jesus. I speak from my heart. We all do our part. There's nothing this wide world can pleasure our fall. There's peace in salvation inside the Lord. Outside and forever than in the unknown. I love it more truly than ever before. I'll do as it please me, no matter that cost. I'll be a true soldier, I'll die at my pool. Can we lift up our voice and concentrate our heart to the Lord? If truly you want to be a missionary, you want to be a soul winner, you want to be a disciple, you want to be an intercessor, you want to be a prayer warrior, to pull down the works of Satan and establish the purposes of God on the earth. Jesus is Lord. Let us not be saved. And I planted you here to take care of Lagos. Wherever he has planted you, in Nairobi, in Oslo, in Helsinki, wherever he has planted any nation of the world, in Virginia, in Russia, remember that Jesus planted you, that through you, he can make disciples in this nation. It is time to say, Lord, I am available. It is time to say, Lord, here am I, send me. When you cry to say, Lord, here am I, send me. Use me as that instrument to bring transformation. Use me as that instrument to bring revival. I cannot do without you. I believe you came into this world. I believe you saved me for a purpose. Jesus, use me. Jesus, use me. Go ahead and call upon the name of the Lord. Ask him to set you on fire for the kingdom. The best to serve Jesus. I am speaking from my heart of heart. There is pleasure, there is peace, there is joy in serving the Lord. Will you serve him? Will you say, Lord, here am I, use me. Lord, send me out to the Lord and use me for the Lord.
Lord, this morning I come to set myself in you.
In Jesus' mighty name we can pray.
Amen.
I'm going to sing a song, and then if you are interested after that song, we will take prayer and then we will close. Are we put it together? Remember, the greatest thing you can ever be is the trust of the Lord in heaven. Money will come and end. Some of us here, you look up when we're much younger and look at our body now, you can find that time has wide away. Very difficult when you have some of those things fade away. But what you do for the Lord, your service, your connection to the Lord, will abide forever. I love this song of Lagos. I don't know the talk about evidence of discipleship and everything, so many other things. But I love this song I love to sing. I pledge allegiance to the Lord. I'm not going to do this song. It means my I pledge allegiance to the Lord. When we pledge allegiance to Him, it is a covenant song. It is a song that is telling Jesus, you, and you will. I pledge allegiance to the Lord. With all my strength, with all I am, I will seek to honor His honor. I pledge allegiance to the Lord. Can you also lift up your voice and say, Father, from today, I surrender all. I'm taking a decision to live and die for you and you alone. Father, give me the grace from now on. In Jesus' name. Amen. Now go ahead and appreciate God and tell us something about your life. Tell us something about your life. I pledge that whatever He sent me, whatever He gives me, I will go. This is my assignment, to share the gospel, making it listen and to know that I am not sent by the Lord Christ, and inspiring the saints to become so winners wherever they find themselves. This is my calling. This is what I do. This is what God wants from some of you who will anoint you as an intercessor, some of you as prayer warriors, some of you will send you out to land as missionaries, as a local evangelist, even in the interior places, to take the gospel to the nations of the earth. This is what God has said from us. Thank you, in Jesus' precious name we pray. We'll just sing songs and celebrate the all to Jesus as surrender. All to Jesus I surrender. All to Him I freely give. I will